Hi there, it's Karen at Corrie Paper Crafts, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in central Scotland. Welcome to another Simple Sundays project, and it's this one here. It's a hand stamped gift bag. I thought I would do some hand stamping just for a change because I don't do it very often. So rather than using designer series paper or making my bag out of cardstock and putting a layer of designer series paper on, I decided just to stamp the pattern straight onto cardstock. So I used very vanilla thick cardstock for my bag, and the colours that I used for all my stamping are Cajun Craze, Terracotta Tile, Cinnamon Cider, Bumblebee and Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to show you how I made it. So I'm going to pop my inks out of the way just now. This is our Cinnamon Cider in colour ribbon for 2020 to 2022. That was a bit of a mouthful. So to make the bag you'll need a piece of, as I say, thick very vanilla cardstock which measures 11.5 inches by 5 1/4 or 29.2 by 13.3 centimetres, and we're going to do a bit of stamping first. So just because this is a clean piece of grid paper, I'm just going to put down an older sheet just now, just till I do my stamping. And I've already got a couple of stamps here. I do need to steal the block back from that stamp there, which is going to be in another video, so I'm not going to show you that stamp just now. And the stamp set that I've used is the Posted for You, and I'm just going to stamp using these flowers here and the happy birthday here. So I started off by using my darkest colour, which is Cajun Craze, and just randomly stamped all over the bag in different directions, and putting the flowers upside down as well, which I'm not really very good at remembering to do. So I'm going to try and remember to do that, and I'm going to make sure that my pattern goes off the page sometimes as well. And because I've got quite a few colours that I want to use, I'm not going to fill the space up too much at the minute. I can always come back. So that's enough for that. So I'll give my stamp a bit of a clean on my chamois. Sorry if that rocked the tripod. And then I used Terracotta Tile. Oops, that's quite a stiff lid, that one. And just more of the same. Just finding spaces in between, not filling it up too much. I'm not too worried about the bottom because that is the bottom of the box, but I've probably filled up that space a little too much with my Cajun Craze, but never mind. Oops. Oh my goodness, that is such a stiff lid, and I've got ink on my finger. And then in Cinnamon Cider, what I did before I stamped my flowers was I stamped my random happy birthdays. So I'm just going to do that just now in the smaller spaces between some of these. Just like so. Probably one maybe about there, and if I'm trying to work out where my next leaves are going to go. I'm not really that indecisive, but I want to make sure I leave some space, and I might have one coming off the edge there, so I can always come back in if I need to. So that's enough happy birthdays just now, so I'll keep a hold of my ink for now. So Bumblebee, just pop those over to the side and stamp a few more flowers. and then I've got to make sure that I don't overlap, but I apologise if I do, because I'm not right over the top of my work, so can't see exactly where I'm putting the stamp. Is that going to fit in there? Yep. Put that one that way, stamp this one kind of sideways, I think. Ooh, am I going to miss the others? Yep. A little bit down the bottom. I've got room for one in here, and a little bit here, and a little bit up here, a little bit at the side. Now there will be some of this getting cut off, but I just don't want to have big huge gaps. I think I probably have room maybe for another one here, I hope. There we are. So I think that'll do for now, and then what I might do is come back in with my cinnamon cider and just add a few little leaves in some of the gaps, and if they're lost when I cut the corners and whatnot off, that's okay. Just saves a lot of white space. So some little leaves up the top here, a little bit just coming in here, a little bit at the side, bit at the bottom, same here and same here. Oops, I did overlap a little bit there, which I didn't really want to do, but that is going to be on the bottom of the bag anyway. And I think that's probably okay. Probably got more pattern here than here, but hey, it's hand stamped and I'm not too worried about that. So that's me used all my colours. So I'm going to get rid of all of those and then bring in my Daffodil Delight. Get these stamps out of the way, and I just very lightly just stamped over, not leaning too heavily because I don't really want to leave the imprint of the shape of my sponge, which I'm quite bad for doing. So no rhyme nor reason to it. I'm just stamping all the spaces in between and not trying to make it look like there's a square edge on my sponge. So I don't want to press too heavily. You'll get a little bit of an imprint, but that's okay. If you do, you can actually just come back in and stamp over it again. And you can make it as light or as dark as you want. So I'm just going to fill up those spaces just a little bit because I've pressed a bit hard. There we are. I think that'll do. I think I've caught everywhere. And I don't think there's anything too obviously saying the edge of a sponge, maybe just there. There we are. And because I filled it in with the Daffodil Delight, it's not quite so noticeable now that there's more stamping here than here, if you see that it's filled up all those gaps. So I'm just going to add a little bit more here. There we are. But you know when to stop, because or whenever you've got enough ink on it is what I'm trying to say, and not really managing. So I'm just going to blot that a little bit just because I'm going to be scoring and folding, so I'm going to blot that a little bit just before I do take that bit away again. There we are. And bring in my floorboard, oopsie daisy, and as always thump either the desk or the tripod. So keeping my pattern the right way up, or my writing the right way up, because I've kept all my happy birthdays more or less in the same direction. I'm going to score first of all on the long side at 3 3/4, 5 1/2, 9 1/4 and 11, and I'm going to turn it clockwise, and I'm going to score again at 1 3/4, and then I'm going to bring it back to the long side, and I'm going to put a couple of tick marks in what will be the top of my box. So I want to put a tick mark at 4 5/8 and at 10 1/8, which is halfway across these two slimmer panels here, which will be the side panels of my bag once it's finished. And we're going to come back to those just in a minute, because we've got another couple of scores to do, but I'm going to fold and burnish all my score lines first before I do that, because then it lets me see what I'm doing basically. There we are. So you've got, probably easier to see on this side, you've got two almost big square panels, they're not quite square, and the two smaller rectangles here, which are going to be our side panels. And first of all we're going to do a bit of cutting, and then we're going to come back and add some more score lines here. I'm going to grab my scissors if I can find them. There we are. So we want to cut up these score lines here on the bottom. We're going to take this narrow section away altogether, and as always we're going to keep the straight edge on the longer rectangles, and we're going to remove the score lines onto the squares and then wedge into those. So I'm not too fussy about that first part, because we're going to be wedging in here anyway, and just wedge a little at the top of there, and then straight edge onto the rectangle and a wedge either side of the smaller one, straight edge and straight edge, and wedging. Whoops. And that's what we're left with once we've done all our cutting as well. So before we do anything else, I'm going to come back to this side again, and I'm going to grab my scoring tool back from my scoreboard, and where these tick marks are, and it's hard to see on this side, although I could put a tiny little pencil mark. There's my tick mark there, and there's my tick mark there, so that helps me to see where I'm scoring. So I'm just going to do diagonal score lines from this tick mark down to each of the bottom corners on both of those panels, because it's going to help my box or my bag to close once I've put it together. So add score lines just like so, and then I'm just going to ignore them until the bag's made, because they will do their own thing once I've made the bag. Put it together. There we are. So what I want to do now is, these are our two side panels, this is the front panel. So I'm going to add some tear and tape onto this panel here, or will I put some liquid glue on? I think I might put some liquid glue on actually before I put it together, and wish me luck with my Seal Plus, because I'm going to use that to join my bag together at the side. So some Seal Plus down that panel at the side there, fold over any overlap, bring this over and join it together like so. So this join here is now going to be at the back of my bag, and I quite like that actually for the front anyway. So I'm going to pop the back panel in so that it's nice and neat on the inside, and then put the side panels over and then the front panel. So what I want to do is add some liquid glue to, oops, bit stuck to my fingers, to each of the side panels here, not too much. Just enough to hold them in place like so. So I'm going to give them a little press down before I put the glue on the front panel, just to keep them stuck, and then add glue to the front panel here, and just make sure I get that to the edge, but I don't want it to squish out. That's it, and then put my front panel over last, and then pop the lid on my glue and just give that another press round like so. So making sure I've done it the wrong way round again. I've made the back panel the front panel, but I can't change it now, so we'll just pretend I didn't do that. Oh Karen, honestly. So I'm going to join that together like that, and there is a little bit of natural resistance here which I'm not too worried about, but because I scored it, I'm just going to pop those sides in like so. Alright, and then I'm going to borrow my little clippy helpers and tie my cinnamon cider ribbon round the bag to hold it closed. So I'm going to cut off about that much, and I'm going to tie the bow slightly to the front of the bag rather than the top. So I'm just going to put the bow round about there and hopefully tie it tight enough to keep the bag closed. Just catch that. Oops a daisy. I hate bows when they hate me, seriously. I cannot tie bows. Oh my goodness me, we do not get on most of the time. There we are. So that's not too bad, having said that. So I might have to take back what I said about bows, and I am not going to mess about with that anymore. I'm going to leave it alone. So I'm just going to trim the ends like so. Maybe trim that one a little bit more. There we go. Pop that glue away, and then I'm going to bring in a scrap of vanilla, very vanilla, and I'm just using my thick very vanilla again for my greeting, and I'm going to stamp another happy birthday, and again I'm going to stamp it in cinnamon cider. Thought I had lost it there, that I was looking straight at it. And I'm trying to stop saying I'm going to grab, because I've noticed in my videos I keep saying, and I'll grab this and I'll grab that, and it's actually starting to annoy me. So I'm trying not to grab anything and not say that in my videos. And then I used the classic label punch just to punch out that greeting, and it fits it perfectly, but only just. It is a tight fit, so I'm just going to make sure that I'm happy with where those letters are sitting, and then punch it out like so, and then just grab some mini dimensionals, which I did have beside me. Can't find them, so I think I might just use, where are they? They absolutely were here. Here they are. I'm filming several projects all at once today, and my desk is literally littered. So I'm just going to add a couple of mini dimensionals to each end, because I need to avoid my ribbon in the middle. There we are. Oops. I'm making this look harder than it actually is. Take the back ends off and then pop that on the front of my bag, or what is actually the back of my bag, but it should be the front, like so. And then to finish it off, I added some of my champagne rhinestones, and I actually went for big and bold this time. I don't normally use the big. Get rid of that putty and get a new bit out, I think. I don't use the biggest size, so I'm going to today and just randomly stick those, one there, and one, where will I put that one? Maybe right down the bottom like that. There we are, and that's my bag made. So nice, quick, easy project. If you put the bottom of it together the right way, that is, and hand stamping, so you can make your own designer series paper. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. I'll put a link to all the products that I've used in the description bar below, and have a go and see what you think. The choice is endless for colours and stamp sets and different colour combinations. So have fun, and until I see you next time, which will hopefully be very soon, take care. Bye bye.